My name is Riaz. I'm 24 years old. I'm an online coach. I'm a photographer, videographer, content creator, focusing on spirituality, faith, lifestyle, and I'm a private audiologist as well. The main thing that I do is mainly focusing on being a better role model for young Muslim men, creating content around that. Your business, what you do, it's your baby. You know, you love it, you care for it. It's everything to you. You can't expect what's everything to you be everything to someone else. Shiny object syndrome. They think I'm going to start trading, I'll live this lifestyle. I'll start dropshipping, I'll live this lifestyle. But it's far from the truth. And wallahi, bro, wallahi, man, if you can prioritize the Quran and if you can prioritize your religion, there will be so much more barakah in your time. Doing a PT course is nothing, bro. If my dad could speak proper English, he could go and become a PT. So I had people that trained with me, bro, they were fat. Do you get what I mean? And look, there's nothing wrong with being fat, but if you're going to be a representative of health and promoting people to become fitter, bro, look at yourself, man. You got flab rolls coming out. You got 3 chins. You know what I mean?
So what is going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Visionation Success Stories podcast. So my guest with me today is Riaz. Nice to meet you, bro. How are you?
I'm good, alhamdulillah. How are you, bro?
All good, man. It's been a long time coming. We've been planning
I
for a
know,
while.
man. Literally back and forth through WhatsApp, man, like ping pong.
But finally, we're here, you know. And now let's get down to business, bro.
Alhamdulillah, man.
So, what does going to the gym mean to you?
For me, it's just something that I do. It's something part of my life right now because I've been doing it for about 7 years right now.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a habit. It's not something where I always look forward to. It's like praying. I have to pray no matter what. Going gym. I'm gonna go gym no matter what. No matter how I feel. If I'm feeling a bit rubbish, if I'm feeling a bit ill, I'll still go. I'm not gonna go 7 days a week, maybe 3-4 days a week. But for me, going to the gym is just a habit. Really, it's a habit that I've formed over time, and inshallah, it stays like that for the rest of my life. To be honest, man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But in terms of like, for the viewers watching, like for myself, like going to the gym is like one of those things. Like it seems like a small thing, but it's like that is so much more to it than just going to the gym and lifting weights.
Yeah.
Like all the psychological thing, all the physical, you know, just spiritual as well, discipline. It builds
Definitely.
like it's like one like block towards something better.
Definitely, man. I think a lot when I first started, it was I'm a skinny guy and I want to get big. I want to start lifting.
Serious? Skinny?
Bro, I'm telling you, bro, I was so skinny, bro. I was literally half the size I am now, even less. But back then, there was no purpose. But for me right now is when I go, I'm going to be honest, like I know a lot of people say, I go to the gym, it clears my head, it does this. Yes, to one sense, when I go to the gym, my head gets a bit cleared if I'm a bit stressed or anything like that. And then in the other sense, I go to the gym, for me, it's more of a purpose, kind of it's a purposeful action because, okay, I'm going to create content in the gym. Okay, I go to the gym to get stronger. I go to look better. I go to feel better as well. And it's all of these things combined into one. It's not, I can't just say I go to the gym to clear my head or I go to the gym to get bigger. It's all these facets that come into one. And then for me personally, it's just a habit. It's nothing too deep into it really. Do you know what I mean? Where people are like, oh, I've got this, spiritual awakening when I go to the gym. Do you get what I mean? For me, it's a very simple act. I go there to look better. I go there to get stronger. And even now, I don't really have a purpose in mind when I go to the gym. I train, do my plan, in and out within an hour, and then that's it. It's just something just kind of keep on doing, man.
Yeah. No, exactly. Like I said, it's the different facets of it, and it's all combining that together. Like for me, it's like I think for people that are watching, like if your life's like not going in the right direction that you want to, I think one thing for me, whenever I've been like that, is just going to the gym, and that is like a chain effect. Once you put that's like one of the easiest things to do. Out of everything you can do, like let's say I don't know, you don't have money, you wanna start a business, blah blah blah. That's harder to do. Just going to the gym.
Yeah. Absolutely,
It's the easy thing.
It fixes a lot of things. I think the first kind of pivotal point in anyone's journey is going to the gym, getting fitter, looking healthier, and just feeling better. Because once you've got that kind of embodiment of discipline boxed off, then you can go on to other things. Do you know what I mean? Like say for example, if you're gonna walk into a room and you see someone who's got a really well built physique, someone who's disciplined in that, someone who's looking after them, someone who's looking after themselves, you can see from that person that they have some element of discipline in their life, and it's something that you can see physically, and it's something that it doesn't happen overnight. Do you get what I mean? Like you know that if someone looks jacked, if someone looks, in really well shape and really well built, you know that that person has put time and effort into that, and that can transcend into other things. You know what I mean? From the discipline of gym, from the discipline of going somewhere on a habitual basis and doing the same thing over and over again, it's then led me to implement the same principles into pretty much every aspect of my life.
Yeah, it's the fundamentals, and I talk about it a lot in the podcast. Like certain things in life, it's all the fundamentals are quite like similar. In business and gym, there's like those kind of things. Just being disciplined and whatnot. But obviously, in terms of the gym, like I think as well, there's that thing that you said, like discipline. But I think that we owe it to ourselves to do it. You know what I mean? Like alhamdulillah, we're born, we're created, like we're coming to this world, like you owe it to yourself to take care of yourself and not just be lazy. Owe it to yourself, take care of your body and be healthy, and that will increase your life, increase your betterment. Because what it is, right, if you don't take care of yourself now, and then it's going to affect you when you're older, and then you're going to realize, you're going to think, you know what, maybe I should have. Now we're young, we're energetic, we can do whatever.
Alhamdulillah, definitely, man. I think, look, our body is an amana, it's a gift from us, from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and I think how we treat our bodies is a reflection of how we treat ourselves, sometimes spiritually as well, because there has to be an element of discipline, of being able to look after yourself. And I'll be honest, man, like I'm not healthy. A lot of bodybuilders you see, they're not necessarily healthy because what you have to eat, the kind of lifestyle you have to be able to look a certain way, it's not necessarily healthy. I don't necessarily eat healthy food. And
what do you mean, like?
Because people will look at me, and they'll think, oh wow, he eats healthy. He doesn't eat carbs. He doesn't eat this. He doesn't eat out, bro. Like literally, last night, 11 p.m. I went George's, and it's a fried chicken place, bro. I got a spicy chicken burger. I got a couple of wings, and I'll do that 2-3 times a week. You know what I mean? And I'll admit that, because for the best part of when I first started training, I was extremely disciplined with what I eat. I then got to a position where, you know what, I'm comfortable with my physique, and for me, what mattered more was building myself internally and then building business as well. Now training, even though it's the whole kind of bread and butter of my business and the online coaching, for me, the gym aspect of it and eating clean isn't a number one priority, and it hasn't been for a couple of years. But having that balance with everything, there's a balance with everything. Like I'm not just gonna go eat junk food all the time, or I'm not always eating healthy. But at the same time, we have to remember is you look at what constitutes of a quote unquote bodybuilder's diet. It's quite a lot of times heavily refined foods, a lot of chicken, a lot of fish, a lot of carbs, a lot of protein and a lot of fats as well. And these are the things that can lead to cholesterol as well. A lot of bodybuilders have diabetes, high cholesterol levels as well, and they're not necessarily fit. Obviously, yes, I do other sports other than gym. I'll do basketball, I'll do Muay Thai, but take the average bodybuilder who just goes to the gym and just lifts weights and doesn't do any cardio. You're getting your muscles bigger, but what are you doing to your heart? It's not necessarily healthy. Yeah. You know what I mean?
You know what it is as well? I think, like you said, you don't focus as much on you mentioned like the diet, and like you're not really focused at that anymore. I think it's getting used to your body. At the start, you might have thought, I need to eat healthy and stuff. I think it's myself as well. Like obviously, I eat out, takeaway. I still go to the gym as much as I can. I eat takeaway. I eat like junk all the time.
Come on, bro, you're looking nice and lean, bro. Come on,
man,
you can't.
I eat all the time, but you know what the thing is, right? If I started suddenly putting on fat, then I'd like realize that I need to cut back. But it's one of those things, yourself, and you know how much you can consume without like kind of going that way. Even with like calories, like calorie intake, for example. Like when I was first started gym, I used to like count my calories, like but then eventually you know how much calories roughly is there, and you just know I'm eating like 3,000 or 4,000 or whatever. You just know in your head. It's just one of those ones, and it just comes naturally. But yeah, alhamdulillah, man, it's nice to see your fitness. When I followed you, is all the content and everything. So speak to me a bit about the content. Like, so I've seen like you do like your day in the life. You do like a Jummah one. Like it's like it's appealing to the Muslims, the young Muslims, and it's a good kind of content that we should be consuming on social media.
Of course, no, definitely. I think, especially whenever I create content, I always think about when I think about posting, I think about a few things. I think, is it going to benefit the audience, and is it going to be against me or for me on the day of judgment? you know what I mean? So say, for example, if I'm posting something, being boastful and just being completely inappropriate, am I going to be able to hold myself accountable for that on the day of judgment? Because at the end of the day, everything we do, we will be held accountable for. Everything you post, you'll be held accountable for. The way you speak to people, the things you look at, the things you listen to, all of these things cumulatively, we will be held accountable for. So when I create the content, I try to do it on the basis of I'm just documenting my lifestyle, who I am. At the end of the day, I make a lot of mistakes. You're not going to see all my mistakes that I post up there. Do you know what I mean? A lot of the time, social media is just the best bits. But at the end of the day, for me, it's been a graft of 6.5 years of just creating content, posting content, being able to provide that value. And I'll be honest, man, before I used to use a lot of music and things like that. And then I just thought there was no barakah in what I'm doing and in the page. And then I thought, let me just be who I am. And who I am is a young Muslim lad. And what I found is a lot of my clients are young Muslim lads. So my audience are a lot of young Muslim lads, so why don't I appeal to them? Because if I show myself to be this perfect guy who never makes mistakes, people can't relate to that.
Yeah.
But people can relate to a Muslim guy who's training, who tries to juggle multiple things at once, and who tries to be the best version of himself, because that's what a Muslim man should be. A young Muslim man needs to strive to be the best in his faith, the best in his finances, the best in his health, and the best in his mannerisms and how he speaks to people and how he condones, in the things that he condones and the things that he prohibits. And if that's in line with the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ, and if that's in line with how we do things within our religion. If not, you need to step back and think, okay, what am I doing? Reflect on the things you do and reflect on the things that are going bad in your life. And a lot of the time, it's a result of the actions that we're doing. And that's what I thought when I wasn't really necessarily kind of promoting my faith through social media. I realized that things weren't exactly going right for me in that sense. But when I started to just be me, create content that is meaningful, that at the same time will get business, but at the same time inspire people, and at the same time and be a reminder to myself, because it's always a reminder for me before anybody else, anything that I post. So alhamdulillah, it's always about keeping, clear intentions. Sometimes it does get to my head. Sometimes I have to kind of reel it in and reflect to myself what Allah gives, Allah can take. So, alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah, man. Yeah, that's a very important, every decision that you make is taken into account of, like you said, what I'm going to be accountable for on the day of judgment. And all these decisions that I'm making is, to do with my religion, to do with my deen. Because, it's one of those ones, like young Muslims, like you said, there's not like role models out there, like new generation, as in like currently, of course, we have, Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, the Sahaba and stuff. But these days, obviously, everyone's on social media, they look for a modern day role model.
Of course.
And that's just how it is. And they need like people like that. And obviously, I've seen yourself and a few brothers like yourself, and it's really good. It's one of those things where that's the kind of content you should be consuming on social media. Like, of course, there's a lot of like rubbish out there.
Of course.
But you, in yourself, you can change that. Like, if your like feed is full of whatever, you can change it. It could probably take it like a day for you to change it. If you just keep watching like videos and stuff that are the right thing, you can just change it, and you can consume the right thing, because that's just going to send you like, different direction completely.
Absolutely, man. And it's funny you say that, because even with social media, like, you don't even have to watch a lot of, say, religious posts to be able to then change your feed. Like, if anything comes on your explore page that you don't like, all you need to do is you just hold it and put not interested. The more you do that, same with the TikTok videos as well. The more you do that, you just put things that you're not interested in. So it's not gonna always show you stuff. Nah, legit, bro. I'll be honest. Like, do you know what it is? Like, my feed on social media, alhamdulillah, like, because I intentionally made the effort. If anything came up that I thought it doesn't embody or reflect who I am or what I consume, just literally I'd hold it and this is on the explore page, and you just put not interested. It blurs it out and it won't show that kind of content again. And people forget that. Do you know what I mean? I think a lot of young Muslim guys as well, especially, is consuming the filth on social media, consuming that nudity in many different ways, and the music that people will listen to as well, the lyrics and the vulgar lyrics and the vulgar videos as well. And then that can kind of induce on social media as well, and the videos that you look at. And look, TikTok, man, it's a platform where there is not much regulation, in the sense that the kind of nudity that people can consume. And I'll be honest, bro, you could be praying 5 times a day, you can be going to the mosque, and then you'll open your phone and then you see these kind of stuff. You know what I mean? So you need to control your social environment, in the sense that what you're consuming digitally, not just kind of physically as well.
I think it's on us to do that. Each individual, like, you can do that if you really want to. And the other thing as well, like you mentioned with TikTok, is not regulated. I think there's a thing where like there's like a comparison between like America and China. And America's TikTok is like all like there's dancing videos and blah blah. And then China, they actually teach them there. Like they have like the educational videos on there. So they're using it for the right reasons, and that's how it should be. But I don't know what kind of agenda they have over here. But
do you know what they've actually done with TikTok in China, like China especially, and I think it's just China. So the only videos that they actually show are them kind of videos where it's educational videos. Anything that's not educational, anything that's comedy, is actually banned in China, because it's a Chinese-owned company, right? And they actually only let that kind of content, humor, nudity, just stupid videos, be shown to the Western society of America, England, everything like that. But in China, it's banned. Like TikTok is literally just an educational app for them.
I think there was a recent, I think it was like a few months ago, there was a court case about it. The CEO of TikTok was, in the American Congress and stuff, and they was talking, I can't remember exactly what happened now, but that's what the stuff was. They were talking about, like, they're educational, but over there they're spreading all kind of, it's one of those political moves, I guess. But it's corrupting like everyone, pretty much everyone. Obviously, the kids and the young people, that's the people 100%. That get affected the most.
100%, man. The young kids, the TikTok generation is what people will say and call them. It's so detrimental. Like, I have little cousins and younger cousins, and you know what? Like my younger brothers, I've got an 11-year-old and a 12-year-old brother. They don't have a phone. They don't have TikTok. They don't have Instagram, and they don't have games consoles. Like, and people are gonna look at this and think, "Yo, Riaz is a dictator." Do you get what I mean? But at the end of the day, like, what I'll say to them is, they've got tablets and stuff like that, but they only allow them when they've done their work, or when they've done their salah and stuff like that. Like, if like my brothers now, they're doing their hifz, like the main priority for me is to make sure that they get through that, but they also, reap the rewards as well. So if you've been at the mosque, so they'll go to school. They'll come back. The elder one, who's 12, Kyrie, so he'll stay an extra 3 hours at mosque and he'll do his hifz. My younger brother, he's not on that level yet. But what I'm saying is that we have to actually forcefully teach these kids, and you can't just be gentle about it all the time. Do you get what I mean? Because a lot of the time people think, you should let kids make the mistakes and stuff like that. But when they're at such a fragile age, you need to guide them and you need to mold them. And especially, if anybody's got any younger kids or any younger siblings, the best thing that I'll say is that they don't respond to violence, they don't respond to anger, they respond to compassion, they respond to love, and they respond to what you do as well. And they'll imitate what you do. So if I'm out, chilling out late at night, never grafting or anything like that, my brothers are going to think that's how you should be. Do you get what I mean? So I try to embody what I want my younger brothers to be, and to be better than me as well at the end of the day. So that's why I'll always tell them, look, your Quran is your main priority, your Salah is your main priority. I'll never say to them, go and pray right now. I'll say to them, look, if you want to pray, go pray. If not, it's on you. And then they'll come up and pray. And, these little things, this is what children respond to. And when they've been so exposed to everything that's on social media, at the end of the day, I can't just control everything they see and what they're exposed to in schools and stuff like that. But as parents, as elder siblings, where you have control, where you have filters, you should definitely and abundantly set them filters and set the boundaries of what your kids and your siblings can consume and what's available to them.
Yeah, 100%, man. I agree. Like, it's important to have those boundaries in place. Like, even when you said, even if they have the iPad, they probably have like some sort of like limits on there. And it's like YouTube for children and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So they can't even access that kind of content.
Exactly.
Because if you just just give them an iPad and there's easily accessible, they can just one click away and they'll see whatever they want to see. And it's obviously it's not good, man. But you were saying you're showing them the compassion rather than being strict. So that's one of those things, like, I feel like in our communities as well, like growing up, like myself and people around me, like when you used to go to the mosque, and it was one of those things like, you have to do this, you have to do this, and that kind of, when you're young, it kind of like makes you want to not do it. It kind of like neglects you from it. But it's when you ease yourself into it and you don't like force it onto someone, like, because that big makes you scared. And I've seen it around with kids, like, if there's a star and stuff, like 100%. That obviously that can work, it can work, but it's one of those ones, like, if someone doesn't respond well to that kind of treatment, because not everyone responds well to harsh treatment, so it can be one of those ones. But compassion, like, I feel like everyone responds to that. So it's one of those ones like, if you do that way, it's more inclined for them to actually learn and understand. Even with like, like reverts and stuff. I've seen a lot of stories. I knew a few people that want to like revert and stuff, and their stories were like, if they've gone to someone, to the wrong kind of person, and they're told you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't do that, and that's turned them away from it, and they're like,
Absolutely.
you know what, I don't want to be part of this religion.
Yeah, 100%. Why do you think kids don't want to go to the mosque these days? A lot of the times, when you've got that old style method of teaching that you need to pray, you need to do this. At the end of the day, you have to guide someone through kindness. You have to guide people through compassion and through your actions as well. I mean, the best, when you think about dawah, what's the best kind of dawah? The best kind of dawah isn't making religious videos on Instagram. The best kind of dawah isn't knocking on your neighbor's door and saying, "Oh, this is the Quran. Do you want to have a read of this?" It's through our actions and through our manners. That's the best kind of dawah. If I was out right now and someone saw me praying on the street, a non-Muslim would think, what is this? Why is he doing this? And then imagine that same person sees me again praying on the street. I'm not saying that I'm not going to always pray in the street, but like, the world has been made a prayer place, for us to pray. So wherever we are, we're going to pray. So the more people see that, the more people see our acts of kindness, that's how they'll gravitate towards religion. Same with kids. You have to think about kids as, you can't force them to pray, because look, I'll be honest, when we were kids, when our parents told us to pray, bro, when I could hear my dad coming up the stairs, I'd pretend that I'm going into sajda or something like that, bro. I was like 10, 11 years old, bro. I'd tell them that I'm going mosque instead of go play football in the park. Do you get what I mean? So these are the things that a lot of the time, a lot of the mistakes that were made in the previous generations, and that's now kind of reflected on us. So it's the responsibility on us to now know what didn't work, because that didn't work on us. It was then, as we grew up, it was our responsibility to then find the Deen, and then to find religion, and to find that connection with Salah, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, He says, whomsoever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guides, they will be guided. But if Allah was to forsake you, who is there that can guide you but Him? And that's what it is. You have to take that step to getting closer to Allah. You take one step to Allah, Allah comes running to you. You know what I mean? So it's doing these little things which will compound, and it reflects with everything in life. Little things done consistently will compound into a much bigger thing, and you'll bear the fruits of your labor.
Yeah, alhamdulillah, man. Just going back to the other point first, you mentioned, how it's our actions that, the people see, the kids or the non-Muslims seeing our actions. It's even more than just like the praying. It's like just being in general, like being kind, being kind-hearted, smiling, and those kind of, smiling, so like small things like that. Yeah. That's what they see, and they'll think, this is a true reflection of the religion, like a more of a true reflection, rather than all these other all these other acts where it's not a true reflection, and they think, you know what, this is a bit weird, and that's when the kind of like Islamophobia and all that kind of stuff starts. Of course,
absolutely, man. I think we have a responsibility, and we have to portray our faith and our religion in how it's supposed to be. If you're walking around in a thobe, don't go starting on someone and causing a scene, causing a fight, because we're already under attack. Our religion is already viewed as an extremist religion, as a religion of war and not peace. Why would you want to then go and reflect that? Do you know what I mean? So it's our attitudes, our mannerisms, and again on social media, man. I've had a lot of non-Muslims message me and come to me in the gym as well. They're like, "Oh, it's sick when you do the day in the life videos, and when you go into the mosque and you're doing your beard and you're doing this." They like that because that's the Islam that is the true Islam. You know what I mean? Yeah. Looking after yourself, grooming yourself, staying maintained, staying in shape, going to the masjid, being kind to others and being true to who you are. That's what people will gravitate towards, because like Hinduism, Christianity, Sikhism, and yes, everybody has their own religions, but they're religions. That's a religion. Islam is a lifestyle. It's a brotherhood. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. It's not just, okay, I am part of the religion of Islam. Everything we do is an embodiment of our lifestyle and our religion. Like right now, like we're not gonna eat pork. Again, that's a religious kind of thing. But in terms of the praying aspect, in terms of say lowering your gaze, trying your best to not listening to music, saying Alhamdulillah, saying Allahumma barik, going to the mosque, giving salam, the way we dress, Ramadan, all of these things, it's a lifestyle, because everything you do, you have to trace it back to, okay, am I in line with my faith? Am I in line with my religion? And if you can live a life of where everything you do your focal point is Islam, then you live a much better life as opposed to if your focal point is something else and Islam is just something that it passes in your head like, oh, okay, I'm not going to think about it. It's like when you go out, make sure you have wudu so you don't have to make wudu in the restroom or in the toilets. Make sure you're dressed appropriately so when it's time to pray, you can pray. That's when it becomes a lifestyle, when you put Islam first and then everything else second.
Yeah, definitely, man. And also, like, when you do those things, you get that fulfillment in your heart as well. That's why you said, like, even people watching, they gravitate towards it, is because that's what's in their heart deep down. That's why, you call it a reverb. Everyone's born a Muslim, like, that's why you feel it in your heart when you do these good things. You take, even if you do all, like, a few bad things, whatever, you sin, everyone sins, like, but then when you take that one step forward, like, you feel like so much better about yourself, like, internally. It's just one of those things, man. Like, it's amazing feeling.
Alhamdulillah, definitely, man. It's something that you can only relate to once you experience it. Once you actually experience that feeling of, you know what, my faith comes first in everything I do, and everything comes second. Like, I could lose everything right now, everything that I have, everything in life. Allah was to take that away from me. As long as I have my faith, and yes, it's easier said than done. I can say this now, but how am I actually going to respond if everything was taken away from me? But the way I feel in terms of the contentment, in terms of my relationship with the Quran, in terms of my relationship with Allah, there's a lot of flaws in it. But I just feel like if everything was to be taken away from me right now, as long as I have my faith, as long as I still have my Quran, then alhamdulillah, do you know what? It can be taken away from me because that can be rebuilt. But my connection with Allah, my connection with Quran is far more important than my connection with social media or what's in my bank account or business, and we have to actually be able to live by this and not just say it.
Yeah, it's a constant in your life. It's just always there, no matter what is going on, good, bad.
100%.
But yeah, so in terms of that as well, like, you mentioned, like, if you lost everything, so we'll touch on, like, in terms of business in Islam, like, do you think we as Muslims have obligation to go out there and make something of ourselves in terms of business, work, creating something?
Of course, 100%, man. And like, if you look at the greatest Sahabas and if you look at the Prophet ﷺ, what was his role initially? He was a shepherd, and then he did some carpentry. But when you look more into the detail and you read the seerah of the Prophet ﷺ, and you read into the stories of the Sahabas, bro, these guys were rich, man. They had a lot of money. They were businessmen and they were tradesmen, and they were fair in everything that they did. And if you look at this, when you look at the stories of the Sahabas, if you look at Uthman radiallahu anhu, and I think it was either Uthman or Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu, it was a time of war, and I can't remember which Sahaba it was, but I'm sure it was Uthman, and he was the most wealthiest one out of everyone. Like, he had a lot of money. I'm talking these lot, like, equivalent to now, it'd be millions, because of the business that they made, and he was ready to give everything that he had in the path of Allah. You know what I mean? When it was time, he used to equip everybody with the best swords, the best shields, and all the weapons and all the armor and everything like that. So, is it an obligation for a Muslim to be successful? Absolutely yes, because even if you look at Khadija radiallahu anha, what was she? She was a businesswoman, before she met the Prophet alaihi wasallam, and that's how they actually met. And I'll touch on it briefly, but the story was so beautiful because so she was going out, she had someone working for her, and he used to do business for her, and so she had a tradesman who she would send out. He'd do business, sell material, scents, fragrances, and dates and food and whatnot. So this one time she needed to what was it now? I think he took someone with him, and the person he took with him was the Prophet alaihi wasallam. And this was before the Prophet alaihi wasallam, he was married to Khadija radiallahu anha. And so they went and did business, right? They went to a stall, and what happened was, everyone else back in them days, what they would do is they used to sell dates, and they used to have the typical tradesman. They used to have all of the good dates at the top, and then at the bottom they used to have the bad dates and the filthy dates, and the dates which not really that edible, gone off. So they'd say, oh, buy this for such and such a price, look at these dates, these are the best dates you can have, and people would buy it because it's dishonesty, and then they'd realize after. So what the Prophet ﷺ, what he did was, he actually put the bad dates at the top, and he mixed them with the good dates as well. And when he did his sales, he was like saying, look, these are the dates that I've got. We've got some really bad ones here as well. This is the section for the bad dates. This is the section for the good dates. And then that day he was the one that made the most money. And then when Khadija radiallahu anha, when her worker or whatever her, I think her partner in business, when he went back to her and he spoke about Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and he said, I went and did business and I took this guy with me, and the business was, you know, amazing, and he was speaking about him, you know, singing his praises. And she was thinking, who is this guy? You know, I need to meet this guy who's done so well for my business, and who's granted, so, you know, there's been so much barakah on that day. Who is he? Because a lot of them days business wasn't as honest, and you know, it was every man for himself. And then obviously she inquired about him. They got to know each other, and then alhamdulillah, they got married. But that, looking at the premise of that, she was a businesswoman, he was a businessman. They were successful, they were honest, they were Muslim, and it's a duty as a Muslim to go that extra mile, not just to make money for yourself, but to give charity. That's why it's a pillar of Islam. You should have something to give if you're in a position to.
Yeah, you know, like providing for your family is essentially an act. It's an act of worship.
Absolutely.
You know? So do you think, like, you know, when we say being successful, what do you define as being successful in terms of like having your own business, or if you're still working for someone, can you still be successful? Like, it's one of those, I don't know, when people talk about, you know, just working for someone. But I personally think, okay, everyone should try, maybe do something for themselves. Absolutely. But in this world, like, you know, people need like just the normal, like standard, like wage job, like salary jobs. Like, it's needed in the world, and there's nothing wrong with it. And it's one of those ones where, you know, you're still providing for your family, you're paying the bills. And I think it's just important to try something else maybe, but there's nothing wrong with like just being in that situation as a Muslim, you know.
No, that's spot on, man. Spot on, because I think that as Muslims, yeah, we should strive to be the best that we can and provide for our family. And in terms of being successful, it's if you've got God in your heart, and if you're striving towards something which is halal, and you can wake up in your morning and you have freedom of time. For me, freedom of time is true success, having that freedom of time. And if you've got that freedom of time to create opportunities and you're still connected to your faith, then you're successful. To different people, success means different things. People will say, you know, if you're happy, you're successful, but well, that's false. You know, if your success is based on an emotion, on how you're feeling, then you're not going to be successful, because you can't always be happy. So if your success is based solely on the premise of being happy, then you're going to be very unhappy in the long road. And to be able to actually be in a position where you're working for yourself, you've got your own business, I say alhamdulillah, it's a blessing. Like, alhamdulillah, you know, I'll never forget the days I was washing pots in a takeaway and cutting onions and cutting my thumbs, and when my hands used to smell of onions for like 3-4 days. I'll never forget, you know, sharing a bathtub with snails and cobwebs and broken toilets and everything, bro. Like, this is the way I had to live, you know, especially as a student as well. My parents had no idea the way I was living when I moved out for uni. So what I'm saying is, to go back to the point of what you were saying, is that some people can work a salary job, which is absolutely fine. Like, there's people who work salary job who earn so much more money than me. Do you know what I mean? And they live a nice and comfortable life. You know, they work Monday to Friday. They'll have their Saturday and Sundays off, and they go into work, and then they have a set lunchtime and whatnot, flexibility. That's fine. You know what I mean? I did that as well. I did that for the best part of so many years, and that's absolutely fine. But if you're in a position where you hate your job, and there is something you can do about it, but you're not doing something about it, then that's completely on you. Then you need to think about, look, there's a ceiling. There's a ceiling that where you're going to reach with your job and whatnot and whatever. Because at the end of the day, you're always going to have to ask somebody, I need some time off. I need some time. Can I go for my lunch? Can I go do this? Can I go do that? For me personally, I didn't see me living my life like that, where I had to answer to somebody else. To other people, that might be seen as arrogance, but for me, it's, I know what I'm worth. I know the value that I can bring, and I feel like I can bring more value to my own businesses then where I can somewhere else, because the ceiling is here and I want to be, above that ceiling. I want to carry on reaching, do you know what I mean? Not just have a cap on, okay, I'm going to wait for a promotion. And at the end of the day, like, you can do that. People are very successful doing that. People have become millionaires from working a 9-to-5 job and getting promotion after promotion. But, if everybody wanted to own a business, then who's going to work for the businesses?
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, you need people to be able to conform, and you need people to be able to say, yeah, do you know what? I'll work a standard job. You need people to be able to say, okay, yeah, I'm going to do a 9-to-5. There's absolutely nothing wrong with a 9-to-5, because not one person is the same. But at the end of the day, there's entrepreneurs. There's people who want to create businesses. There's people who want to, create, a whole future where your salary isn't capped in a sense, or determined on, what some other person says. It's kind of, you can have highs like this. You can have these peaks, and you can also have the troughs where it's low. I've had months where I've been down low, bro. I'm telling you, man. I'm thinking, damn, bro, I should have just stuck to being an audiologist, man. And it's just been like so many things. But alhamdulillah, man, that's all I can say, bro.
Alhamdulillah. So you define success as what? Like your time freedom and not being controlled, like not being under someone, basically, to be able to free. Well, it's the same thing technically, right? Yeah, I think so. Freedom of time. Yeah.
Success for me is freedom of time and always remembering Allah. That's true success, because with that time you fill it with barakah, things that you can do that will fill your time with barakah. And wallahi, bro, wallahi, man, if you can prioritize the Quran and if you can prioritize your religion, there will be so much more barakah in your time. From the minute you wake up to the minute you sleep, there will be so much more barakah in your time. You'll feel like your days are longer, because you've accepted, okay, I've got that freedom of time. Now let me actually use that. Let me utilize that usefully. And the best way to do that is to read Quran. I'll say that now. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'd rather be reading Quran for 3 hours than working on business projects for 3 hours. But to be practical about it, you have to be very pragmatic and delegate your time effectively from the minute you wake up to the minute you get to sleep, so that you can read Quran for 2-3 hours a day, so that you can work on your businesses for 6, 7, 8, 9 hours a day. That's how a real successful Muslim should live their life. Not a balance between Deen and Dunya, because you can't balance the Deen and you can't balance the Dunya. The Deen is way up here and the Dunya is here. Do you know what the word Dunya means, where it derives from? Do you know what it is?
Can't remember. I've heard it. I know what you're talking about. I've heard that saying before. Say it.
So dunya, the actual word for dunya and the Arabic derivative and where it derives from, means lowest. It means lowest. So dunya actually means lowest. So we are at the lowest. So when somebody says, oh, I just want, I want a balance of my deen and my dunya, you can't, because dunya is here and your deen and your akhirah is all the way up here. So in a scale, it's not effective. So what you need to do is you need to make sure that within the dunya, within the your deen, you can fit dunya around that as well. It's not within your dunya you can fit akhirah around it, or your deen, because it's not going to work. Like I said, the deen has to be the focal point, and you can't weigh it on a scale as a balance. You can't have a balance.
Exactly, man. It's like the deen is like the main thing, and the dunya just around it. It's like orbiting around it. You know what I mean? It's one of those ones that's where you got to main focus on, and then everything else just follows around with it. Like you said at the start, where you make the decisions based on your deen.
Of course.
That's like, if you do every single decision based on that, like, you'll make the right choices.
Of course, alhamdulillah, definitely, man. And that's just the way to go, man. And that's how you can truly be a successful Muslim. And I'm not saying that I'm successful or anything like that, but what I'm saying is that I have the freedom of time, but it's on me to make use of that time and to be able to spread as much value, as much khair, and build as much wealth as I can effectively.
So I got a question for you. Would you agree with the statement saying that being a business owner or being an entrepreneur is not for everyone?
Yeah, absolutely, man. It's not for everyone. 100% it's not for everyone, man, because people will crumble under the pressure, bro. Do you know what I mean? Because some people they're just not built in a way where they can set their own routine and build their own kind of structure. They need to be told what to do. Do you know what I mean? Like, they need to be told what to do. And I have people, and I've had people who've worked for me before, like, they're never going to own businesses. And I've spoke about this to them. you know, like one of my closest boys, and he's called Sid. Yeah, so he's been my right hand man in everything, right, with business and everything. Like he's always been like, yo, I need your help. Can you do this for me? Can you help me, with this? I need you to cover for me and stuff like that. And I'll teach. Like he knows the ins and outs for most of the businesses that I do. But what he said to me is, he goes, Riaz, bro, like, because I said to him, look, I want you to be my business partner in the future. I want this, and I want to be able to do this with you. And he said to me, look, Riaz, like, I'm always going to be your number two. I'm always going to be your right hand. But in terms of a business partner, it's probably not going to work. But when you need me to do something, if you need me to be your right hand man, your number two, I'm going to be your number two in everything. And he said, look, being a businessman isn't for me. I'd rather work a 9 to 5. I'd rather work a job. And alhamdulillah, that's amazing, because some people are like that. They don't want to have the stress of having a business or being an entrepreneur. And we have to accept that as business owners or as entrepreneurs, or whatever you want to say. You have to accept that some people are okay with working a 9 to 5, but other people, they don't want that. And when you realize you don't want that, you have to go seek what you actually want. And that's, for me, that's what it was.
But you know what, I disagree with that.
Okay.
I not disagree with what you said, but I disagree with the original statement that I said, which was it's not for everyone. Only because, I understand, like, people, like you said, your friend, he doesn't want to do business, he's happy in his job. But I think, like, alhamdulillah, we're smart creatures, humans, like, is the best of creation,
Yeah.
We are really smart, and everyone has it in them. They have it in them to be able to do that. It's just whether you choose to do it or not. But I think everyone has it in them. You could have, a person that's very lazy and, doesn't do anything. But if they took a few of the right steps and they built themselves towards something, they could accomplish whatever. I don't think it's technically, that statement is kind of correct, but like when you look at it properly, it's one of those ones where I think everyone is capable of doing it. And you might say, like today, like someone, like you said, someone that worked for you, you don't think they're not going to have a business, but you never know, something might change in their life and they might switch towards that. And you know what it is, it's usually when something bad happens in your life where you learn the most. They might have some sort of thing, hardships, and that might turn them in a way where they, I don't know, want to go start a business, or they want to go do something. Like I was just talking about earlier about the videography. Like I didn't know I was going to do it.
Exactly.
I just done it. I didn't think, I can make a business out of this or anything like that. And it's just one of those, and I just done it. But obviously it's about having that willpower inside you to be able to go and do that. But I don't think it's categorically true that it's not for everyone.
Here's the thing, man. Like, everyone has capability. Everyone in potential, right? Everyone in this world. Every single person in this world, all of the billions of people in this world, every single person, has the capability to let's just say, for example, build a business. Everyone has it in them, the capability, but someone being capable of something and someone actually doing something is completely different. You know what I mean? So you can say, everyone's capable, everyone's got the potential in them, but some people will live their whole life never ever finding that potential because they didn't want it, they didn't yearn for it. How can you find something that you don't yearn for? Now look, at the end of the day, you wanted to do this podcast, you wanted to set this channel up. Why did you want to set it up?
To reach out to people and help them, benefit the community, basically benefit people, young people. It's
something you wanted to do, right?
Something I wanted to do, yeah.
How long have me and you been trying to get on this, trying to start this podcast out, roughly?
Probably maybe just over a month
and a half, nearly 2 months.
Nearly 2 months.
Why? Because you wanted to do it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And when you wanted to do it, you weren't going to be like, you know what, okay, do you know what, Riaz isn't available this day, I'm not available this day, forget it, I can't do it. You wanted it, you went and did it. Being a videographer, you said you started on your phone, and did you know you wanted to be a videographer?
No, I didn't.
But then when that clicked for you, when you realized, you know what, I'm good at this and this is something that I want to do, what did you do? You went and did it. Do you know what I mean? So this is how people will live their life. Sometimes some people don't even want to do something, so they'll never search for it. You have that category of people where they're absolutely fine with just working a normal job, earning a set salary and whatnot. They don't want the pressure of building a business because they think it's never going to work. It's a fear of failure. Second, there's people who want it. You've heard of entrepreneurs, people who just want it, ideas.
They say they're the most dangerous people.
Exactly, bro. Shiny object syndrome. Entrepreneurs is they want this, they want that, but they don't go and get it because their own selves, they hold themselves back. So people have potential, people want things, but then there's people who have potential and they want it, and then they go and take action on their ideas, and that's a whole different category of people. Do you get what I mean? And not everyone is built like that, bro. To be honest, man, but I agree with what you're saying.
Yeah.
Everyone's got it in
I
them.
think I'm just too optimistic, man.
Yeah,
I see
man.
the
You
best
know
in
what
people, man.
you know what it is like, and alhamdulillah, it's not always about seeing the worst or seeing the best in people, because the best in someone maybe is that they stick to this job or whatever at the end of the day. Because at the end of the day, if say when you build your businesses and when I kind of expanded my businesses, I'm not going to want everyone that I work for to want to start a business, because then who's going to work for me?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So there's a balance between it, and there's being able to find people who can do a standard job, pick a career, stick with it, and then there's people who don't want to do that, and it's just how the world has always been, man.
It's interesting, like you said, like, you know, when you expand your business and stuff and you hire people, I think the people that you have around you, those people, I think they should be like an entrepreneurial level, because then it's one of those ones where they probably have their own ambitions, and it might be the only way that you're going to get the best out of them is, you know, you can go let them do what they want. I think it's when it's like just a general like you know, not to say like low level job, but like, you know what I mean, that kind of thing where you might have someone that's just gonna work like with you forever. But I think it's one of those ones, like if I had a business and I had people like near me, around me, like higher up, then I would encourage them to go and start their own business. I don't know, it's just one of those. Obviously you wouldn't want to if someone's doing really well for you, but I don't know, it's one of those ones like you want someone to do, it's their like life ambition. If they want to do something else, you know, maybe it's not for them to just be with you all the time, but you know, like you said with your friend as well, you know, but he wants to be your number two, and he wants to do that. It's not for him to do something else, but you said to him like, you know, let's do this, let's do that, but you know, it's whatever, it's fluctuating.
Absolutely. I think one thing that was really like a bitter pill for me to swallow was that no one's going to love or give the same energy and passion. Not one single employee or person that works for you is going to give the same passion and have the same love for your business that you do. Because what it is to you, it's not the same thing to them. And you can never blame somebody for that. Do you know what I mean? Like, your business, what you do, it's your baby. You know, you love it, you care for it, and it's everything to you. And you can't expect what's everything to you be everything to someone else. So when you are hiring and when you do have people working for you, you have to give to them, you know, not everything you've got, but you have to make sure that you're showing them why this is everything to you, and then it will be reflected in the way they work, and you're encouraging them, like children, for example. Encouragement, you know, empower them, and at the same time set boundaries, let them know X, Y, and Z needs to be done, and then alhamdulillah, you just take it from there.
Yeah, definitely, man. That's one of those ones. You should, like you said, you know, you show them what you see in it for them to be able to see the good in it and want to be better. Because then if you don't, and if you just, you know, you expect everyone just to be like you without showing them why, to them it's just like, it's just a job, you know what I mean? Like the 9-to-5s come about from people creating businesses, so it's one of those ones, you're just working a 9-to-5, but you know, you don't know, your boss doesn't really like sell you the vision. It's about selling the vision to them, and if you really believe it, I think you can sell the vision to literally anyone like in your team,
of course, you know.
But yeah, we touched on videography. I want to touch on videography, like, because you're a videographer as well. So how long have you been doing videography now?
Same time as you, about 3 years. 3 years. I've been in editing, about 5.5 to 6 years. Videography, like, and photography, just under 3 years.
Yeah, and I really want to discuss this because I think these days when people are like, let's say someone wants to become an entrepreneur, I want to start my business. What's the main things they go to? Property, trading, I don't know what else, a couple other things probably.
Property, dropshipping, FBA.
E-commerce, FBA. But no one really talks about videography, and that's what I was thinking. I was like, you know what? But it's a well-paid thing, and it's a creative thing. I guess you don't realize it. Like I was myself, I didn't realize that I was into it but it's one of those ones where it gives you that kind of freedom as well. Like, you know, if you're doing videography, you can like travel to places, you know, with editing as well. Editing is a bit different, but with the videography, like, you can travel, photography as well, and you can capture like such amazing things and just beautiful moments and stuff like that. So what do you think on that? I think why do you think that these days it's just all about like those main 4 or 5 categories. But because I think there's enough money in videography as well. It's not like it's not a well-paid thing. If you get to the high levels, you get like ridiculous money for one or 2 projects. You know what I mean?
Of course, bro. There's enough money in anything. You can go right now and create a YouTube channel reviewing books, and you'll make you'll make millions of that. There's money to be made in absolutely everything. The reason why people go to the default of dropshipping, trading, property is hard, or say Airbnb or something like that, because that's what seems most common, and that's what people sell the most courses on. Do you know what I mean? A lot of these, and I'm not hating on people. I'm not kind of putting people down who sell courses, because at the end of the day, if you've learned something, you want other people to learn it, you're going to sell a course. You know what I mean? It's just another stream of income. But at the end of the day, that's what people see the most, and that's what appeals to them the most, and they think that's what's going to be the easiest, because quite a lot of people who promote this kind of service are like, oh, within 30 days, within 3 months, within 4 or 5 months, you'll make money. A real trader will know that you're probably not going to make money in your first year and a half. You have to spend at least a year and a half, a year, learning the fundamentals, learning fundamental analysis, technical analysis, learning the market, learning the terminology, knowing when to buy, knowing when to sell, knowing when to actually understand the market. And that takes a heck of a lot of time, bro. Loads of times. And people can't appreciate that. They think, okay, I'm going to buy this course and I'm going to start using my own funded account and I'll start making money. It's not like that. So then when people realize that, they think, oh, trading wasn't for me. Same thing, they'll start dropshipping. They'll be like, oh, okay, I'll do this research, I'll start this product. It's not for me. And the reason I'm saying this is because I tried everything. I tried trading, I tried dropshipping. When I was younger, from the age of 16, 17, I tried all these things. I had to wait until I was 18 to start a trading account. I did it and I thought, oh, it's not for me, because I spent 3 months learning and I thought, okay, money's gone, whatever. Then I started FBA, lost my money. And then I tried setting up a recruitment agency, lost my money. And then I started dropshipping again. I didn't really put much money into it, but it was a time. And then other things started to come into fruition. But that's why, because it's quick and easy. People think these are the things that appeal to them the most. Shiny object syndrome, do you know what I mean? They think, I'm going to start trading, I'll live this lifestyle. I'll start dropshipping, I'll live this lifestyle. But it's far from the truth. You speak to any real trader, bro, they'll tell you, bro, the kind amount of graft and time they put into it and how long they didn't make money for, man. Yeah,
it's true, man. Even with, like you said, you at least, you went and tried these things, and eventually those failures led to what you're successful in now, which is your online coaching and stuff. So tell me about online coaching. Like, why did you start the online coaching?
With the online coaching, it happened by accident, and everything that I'm heavily a part of now happened by accident. You know what I mean? It was something that was right under my nose, and then I just had to go and look for it. Online coaching. So I'll strip it back from the beginning. When I started uni, I wanted to be a sports doctor, and then I wanted to be on the pitch, being that guy who kind of helps the players and stuff like that. I then went into sports science, and I thought this is going to be everything. Do you know what I mean? Like, because I was heavy into the gym then and really researching everything. I thought that was going to be my everything. I did it, and then I realized it just wasn't for me. Like, the people on the course, the course itself, and a big thing is that I don't deal well with blood. So when we were dissecting like dead body parts and things like that, and we were doing all of these, we were in a lab. So we had a lab on the 9th floor. It's called a cadaver lab, and it's dead body parts and stuff like that. So we had to dissect, and I would always pass out. Do you know what I mean?
Dead body part as in of what?
People.
Of like humans?
Yeah.
Swear down.
Yeah. So we had a specific lab. It was on the 9th floor. So anyone who's like in the School of Medicine that went Uni of Leeds, they'll know that we had, I think it was 9th floor, we had a lab which was just dedicated to dead body parts, because anyone who's within the faculty of medicine, dentistry, anything to do with kind of humans and human body parts, you'll use that lab for dissections. So that's what we did. So I remember this one time there's literally my professor, he held up an arm in it of this person, like, okay, so this is where the shoulder joint is, this is where the shoulder connects to the sternum and the chest, and then we had a trunk of somebody, and we were assessing the trunk and the buttocks and everything. Do you know what I mean? I couldn't hack it, man, and we had to kind of look into it, and I was like, the same for me. So the fact that I don't deal well with blood meant that, okay, I'm not going to go down the the kind of sports medicine route or sports science.
I don't think that's a blood issue, that one. Body part.
Yeah, man. And then I thought, you know what? Look, I really like the gym. I've dropped out of uni. I'm 18 years old. Okay, what am I gonna do now? So I thought, you know what? Let me just do a PT course. So at the time, I worked in Carphone Warehouse, and then I'd work across different stores, and I'd work like 7 days a week, and then I'd work in a restaurant doing deliveries, everything. So that time when I dropped out of uni, I had about a 6-month gap where I thought, okay, what am I gonna do with my life? And I'm 18 years old, thinking, what am I gonna do? So I then signed up to audiology for my uni.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I qualified in. And then
what is audiology? I don't know what it is actually.
So basically, my specialty is treating hearing loss. Everything to do with ears is basically what I specialize in, and that's what I qualified in. So I thought, okay, right, let me look into audiology. Next thing you know, I applied for it. It seemed alright. Seemed like something that I wanted to do. But in that time, I'm thinking, let me do a PT course. But because I already did all of that content and all of the course within my degree, the PT course was a 12-week course. I finished the course in 4 weeks. I just said, don't teach me the content, just let me sit the exams. So I did the course, qualified, bam, done it. Now I'm a PT and I know my stuff about nutrition. Everything I learned, I already knew. Like, it was nothing new. Doing a PT course is nothing, bro. Like, it teaches you nothing. I'll be honest, man. Like, it teaches you some things, but anyone can become a PT. Literally anybody right now. Like,
I've seen it in the gym where they don't look like they've been training, but they're PT.
Bro, like, if my dad could speak proper English, he could go and become a PT, do the course and become a PT. Do you know what I mean? So it's that easy to become a PT. So I did that.
Yeah, sorry, it's just theory, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's just one of those
theory.
ones. You don't even have to, you know.
Yeah, bro. Like, I had a lot of people that trained with me, but they were fat. Do you get what I mean? And look, there's nothing wrong with being fat, but if you're going to be a representative of health and promoting people to become fitter, bro, look at yourself, man. You got flab rolls coming out. You got 3 chins. You know what I mean? Like, it's a reflection. Like, who's going to want to become your client?
Exactly.
People don't care about what you know a lot of the time. It's what you look like and how much value you can provide to them. And if you're not a representation of what you're presenting, then where does that get you? So I did the course, and then I was like, oh, I don't want to be a PT. You know, I never want to be. I don't have time to be a PT. So at the time, I then got into audiology. Started audiology, and I was like, okay, I have placement 3 times a week. I work 2 jobs in the weekend, so I travel from Leeds to Manchester. So I moved out to Leeds, and then every week I'd travel back to Manchester. I had Carphone Warehouse Saturday and Sunday, and then after Saturday and Sunday, after Carphone Warehouse, the shift would end straight away. I'd get in. I used to work at a dessert shop doing deliveries and making desserts. So then I'd do that, and then Sundays what I'd do is straight after I'd finish, go to the dessert shop, do deliveries, do things, or whatever takeaway I was working at. I'd then pack my stuff, go to Leeds. Then from Leeds, the next day, I'd go to Hull, where my placement was, or York. So I was thinking, how the hell am I going to find time to become a PT? So I thought, you know what, just leave it. So I thought, just leave it. I just stuck with my making videos and edits and stuff like that. And then so the business that I was going into was a recruitment agency. And so I bought this course, and I did the course. I learned everything. You know, I built my pipeline of people I'm going to call. I was building a website. So I built a website on Wix, and then, I'm backtracking actually. I skipped. I then started to make the ebooks. So I made some fitness ebooks. Yeah, it took me 6 months to make. Made it on Canva. And then I sold it. So that was my first kind of thing that made me money, in terms of the business. And I was like, okay, I started selling them on via DM. I had about 9,000 followers on Instagram back then. It was just before I went for Umrah, 2018 or 19. So I did that, made a couple of £100 from it, and then they just went flat. no one was buying it. Do you get what I mean? So I thought, okay, then it is what it is. Like, so then I thought, let me provide more value, but how? So I thought, forget the fitness stuff. It all was so trivial for me. I just thought, forget this, and then trying to trial and error. I then got to the recruitment side of things, and then whilst I was building the website, it was a random day. I was at home. I think I registered it as it was Envision Recruitment, something like that. And then I looked at it, and I thought, why don't I just do this for fitness? Why don't I just make a website for this? Like, fitness is what I know, gym is what I know. Why don't I just make a website on that? So then what I did was, I was like, you know what, let's have a crack at this. So that I then get into second year of uni, spent the best part of 7 months trying to build a website. I had no idea, and everything I was doing, it just didn't look right. So I thought, I need to do this properly. Reached out to a company, they built my website, they built the app, then the coaching started. Do you know what I mean? And even then, my first 2 years of coaching was dry, bro. I was making less than £800 a month from my coaching. Do you know what I mean? At the time, it was okay for me. Like I had job for my part-time role, and the uni would do like a bursary thing in it, for poor kids, for poor students, basically, where every year they'll give you, like, I think it was 1,800 or something like that. I was like, okay, let me use this kind of stuff, what I've saved up, that should be fine in it. And then from then it just scaled. A lot of things obviously happen in between.
I was wanted to touch on.
Yeah.
So talk about like the online coaching, your clients. For your online coaching, how does that make you feel when you giving value to your clients and seeing them transform, basically? That's what I want to know.
A lot of my clients actually don't transform. They've not really got an amazing transformation. But the ones that do, like for me, alhamdulillah, because the way I do my coaching, it's not just, okay, here's a meal plan, here's a workout plan. What I'll actually do is, so within my app, what we'll do is, I've got different features, yeah, and I'll add different habits for my clients. So the whole kind of basis of how my coaching works and how I get results from guys is we set habits as well. So it's not just, okay, what have you ate, how have you trained, what's gym like. It's deeper than that. They're accountable if they've read Quran. So literally, so on there will be, and this is what every time when I do the check-in, so every 2 weeks, I'll have a look at their progress. I'll have a look, okay, what has this guy done? What have you been, what kind of progress have you made? And the targets I've set for them, the targets I've set for them are the following: is, did you read one ayah of the Quran today? Either last thing at night or first thing in the morning. So I'll set them a habit, and I'll set them a trigger for the habit as well. So the trigger for the habit of reading Quran is either the first thing in the morning or the last thing of the day. The next habit that they need to hit is, have I prayed all my salah today? You know what I mean? The trigger for that habit is, as soon as salah time starts, pray. The next habit is, and this is pretty much what I've set for all of my Muslim clients. Like, they have these are the same fundamental habits that all of them will have, and then their own things. And then the next one will be, is, have I done at least 3 minutes of dhikr or adhkar during the day? And then the next habit is, no sexual content or pornography. Like, this is the kind of things I'm trying to promote for the people that I work with, for my clients. It's not just, what are you eating, how are you training? It's so much more deeper than that. It's spiritually, financially, physically as well. And the people who are able to follow that, they make the most progress. And that's why my coaching isn't for everyone. Like the brother who doesn't want to practice his faith, or who doesn't want to get closer to his deen, we're probably not going to be a great match. If you want to work on your deen, if you want to become a better Muslim, doing the coaching, working with me, you're kind of forced into being better. You have no choice. Like, I'm going to be there keeping an eye on you, so much so in the sense that I'm there to keep you accountable, so much that it's accountable, but not to the extent where I'm babysitting you, because you're a grown man. You don't need, majority of my clients are older than me. They've got kids. These men don't need me telling them, every single day, have you done this, have you done that? There's, I set targets. You have to hold yourself accountable.
Yeah, so I didn't really know that about your online coaching, where, you keep them accountable on their deen as well, which is, I've never heard of that before, and it's amazing. Like you said, it might not be a good match for someone that doesn't want to do that.
Yeah.
But this is the thing, like, with being authentic and doing what you want yourself, that makes you feel good. Like, you might not get the crazy number. This goes for anything, like even like content on social media or whatever, like business, whatever. If you are being authentic and doing what you want to do, or naturally you're just going to attract what you want. You're going to attract those people that you want to work with. That's the thing, right? See, now when you're doing that, you're not going to attract these people that don't want to do that. You're going to attract the people that, maybe they want to improve it. They've got that in them that they want to improve it, and they just need a bit of help. And that's the kind of people that you're working with. So, it's just naturally attracting those kind of people, and that just works wonders,
Absolutely. I think every business has a niche, and as a business owner, you need to understand your niche, and you need to actually know who your target audience is. Before, I used to try and reach everybody. My target audience was men and women. all faith, all religions, all age and whatever. Now I'm very specific. Even in my bio, it's I help Muslim men to become closer to their faith, or to be able to lose weight, become healthier. Like now I won't even say I help Muslim people, because now I don't really take on female clients, because that's my goal is to work with Muslim men, Muslim males, because they can resonate a lot with me, a lot more than a female client can. Like if someone applies and they really need my help, I'm not going to say, oh no, I'm not going to coach you, but like I don't promote that. Yeah, I'm still, if you're a female, if you're a sister and you need coaching, come to me, whatever. Like I don't really care. It's mainly my target audience now is the Muslim man, right? And anywhere between the ages of like 22, 23 to like mid 30s, 35, 36. That's the kind of people I want to work with. Because before, and the biggest mistake that every business owner makes is they try to reach everyone. When you try to appeal to everybody, you appeal to no one. When you categorize your niche and you become very specific, there's people who are even more specific than what I do. You know what I mean? They'll be like, I work with, to be honest, if I wanted to, I could say I work with Bengali Muslim men who are between the ages of 23 and 28 who want to lose fat. That can be the whole niche I focus on. And I guarantee you that I can make a 6-figure business out of that, just reaching Bengali men who are between the ages of 23 to 28. Do you know what I mean? So you have to be very specific with your niche, and you have to know your target audience. And that's when I realized, my target audience is, the Muslim man. It doesn't have to be Bengali. I've got guys from all different countries, all over the world. But it all goes back to the Muslims and the Muslim men, young Muslim men who have the same struggles that I do and that I did, and that a lot of other men that face as well, and that's what they resonate with the most. Yeah.
Why do you do what you do? I feel like you kind of touched over it throughout the whole podcast, but like...
So when you ask me straight away, it's like...
straight, man.
Okay, it serves a purpose.
Yeah. I think you mentioned on... Sorry to cut you up, but you mentioned on the other podcast where you mentioned, if your why is strong enough, then the how is...
Yeah, the how becomes a lot easier. Yeah. It brings purpose, and it provides me purpose. I don't enjoy it all the time. If you do something based on if you just enjoy it, then you're not going to do it. Do you know what I mean? If you do something based on how you feel, you're not going to do it a lot of the time. For me, it brings purpose. It serves a purpose to other people, and everything that I do, whatever business I'm in, whatever I've done, has always been in service of people. My coaching, I'm in service of people. I'm helping people with creative focus to videography and photography. I'm helping brands. I'm helping whether it's married couples get close. Telling a story for them. I'm of service to them. With audiology, when I'm treating patients, I'm in service to them. When I've worked with patients, it's in service. So everything brings me purpose. I don't enjoy every facet of my businesses. I don't enjoy the meetings all the time. I don't enjoy the admin. But if whatever you do has purpose, and like we mentioned before, like the why, if your why is strong enough, like my why to do this is to have to have freedom, to have money, to have wealth, to bring purpose and provide value to people. That's my why. And the how I do it is however way I'm going to do it. It just becomes easier. Like I'll find a way to do it. So if you have a strong enough why, something to pull you that's strong enough, you're always going to find a way. And the comparison I'll draw to this is it's a bit of a weird one. I said this to one of my clients, and and we discussed it, and this is the problem that he had. Okay, so he was in a relationship, and so what happened? Long story short, he couldn't prioritize training, and he couldn't prioritize the Deen and stuff like that. But I said to him, okay, you've got a girlfriend, yeah. If you're in a relationship, you've got a girlfriend, okay. Say for example you work a 9 to 5, you're really busy, and you still made time for it, didn't you? And he said to me, yeah, you're always going to make time for it, because why? Because she's a priority for you. No matter how busy you were, you'd still be FaceTiming her and chatting to her, and you'd go and see her because she was a priority in your life. So your why was her. You know what I mean? Why do it is her, you want to be with her and whatnot, or vice versa, you want to be with this, you're in a relationship and you want to be with that person. That's your why. your how is okay. You're gonna find time no matter what because they're a priority. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that was the way I could resonate with him because he was in that relationship. I could make him understand that. But it goes back to anything, you know. No matter how busy you are, if you have a set priority in your life, you're gonna do it regardless.
Mm-hmm. So you mentioned with your creative focus and your PTing and coaching and stuff, like I've seen on your page as well, you work with brands. Like what kind of brands have you worked with?
So I work with various different brands. So my current sponsorship is with My Protein, but at the end of the day, I don't do much with them, and because I'm not that bothered about it. And like I'll say it now, do you know what I mean? If I lose that sponsorship, I'm not bothered. It doesn't really affect me. Brands that I work with now, because working with brands is an income stream for me.
Yeah.
Like I tend to work with brands which values align with mine, and because of my content is so diverse, I like to work with either skincare brands, perfume brands, aftershave brands, Islamic brands, any Islamic finance, Islamic apps. So in terms of brand partnerships, I'll always work with brands which values align with mine. If the brand tells me, oh, you know, we want to use music or we want to do this, I'll say no, we're probably not a good fit. Like I've just signed a contract with for a long term for a brand which you'll see in a couple of months anyway, and so that they're going to use my content just for their page. So I'm not going to post it on my page, but they'll send me their products, I'll record it in the way I do, and then they'll use it on their page, so they have ownership of the content. But I won't post it on mine because just in terms of, I don't want to spam the page of just that kind of stuff. So I thought I'll make you X amount of videos, you use that. But then I said to them in the terms of the contract, like, I'm not going to use music, and I don't want you to use music because you're going to take my videos. You have ownership of that. I don't want you to use music in them videos. So do what you want, but just don't use music. So that's kind of how brands work. Like I've had propositions before, you know, where brands have said, look, we'll give you X amount, and I'm talking a couple of bags, and you know, this is the content brief, this is the overview, and I said no, I don't want to do it because, you know, you said you're going to have ownership of it, and you can't guarantee me that you're not going to use music. Or, you know, one of their prerequisites was that you don't use, wallahi, this brand said to me, there's this one brand that said to me is, can you not use Arabic music, please? Wow. I was like, yo, what do you mean? Like, go, like, I don't care, like, and that's what it is, do you know what I mean?
You gotta stick to your morals, man. It's very important. And Absolutely. Then the thing is, these kind of things, they come, but if you reject these opportunities, bigger opportunities come. Because technically, like, when people get like successful and, you know, they start getting these brand deals or whatever, like, kind of feel you in, there'll be moments in that where you have an opportunity to possibly make more money. Yeah. But basically you're selling out. Yeah. So if you don't have any morals, if you was a Muslim, you know, you would probably take all of those. You know what 100%. I mean? It's one of those ones. You don't have no boundaries, no rules, no nothing. You just take everything. Because
at the end of the day, what is it for? It's for money. And I don't know if you've been in the same position, but this has happened to me before. I've turned away thousands in brand deals, and I've also turned away thousands in video production. Like, people used to come to me to say, can you make our music videos? You know, that we want, you know, we've seen the way you edit and the way you create videos. Can you make a music video for us? Can you edit this? It's a long-term thingy. And you know, and I had a connection with a photographer. He works with a lot of musicians, a lot of rappers, and a lot of artists in it. And he said to me that, look, this rapper, he needs a music video. He's up and coming. Can you do it? I was like, no, like, this is not what I'm about. And even some of my boys have said, yo, do you do music videos? And I said, no, it's not something I'm gonna, you know, sell my religion out for. Because at the end of the day, once that content's there, it's out there. Yeah. And I'm not saying that I've never created videos and stuff like that without music in it, but I'm saying that I make a conscious effort now to be better.
Exactly, man. 100%, I agree. So you mentioned as well, like, with the brand partnerships and stuff, you mentioned how you have, like, you know, like, Islamic kind of, you know, so it's like bettering our brothers as well, like, you know what I mean? If there's an up and coming brand like perfume or whatever, it could be like a Thobe brand or something, and for you it's beneficial to help them out, and then obviously you get to, you know, enjoy the product, whatever it is, and then they get exposure from you, and like, for that kind of thing as well, you know, you're a good person to portray that for them as well. Of course. And then it's a win-win situation, and it's about bringing each other up together. You know, it's very important, and that's why I do this podcast. That's why we're here. That's why we do all this stuff.
100%, man. 100%. I think as Muslims, we need to we need to scream and shout about our faith. You know, we need to be proud of who we are as Muslims. We need to be proud that, look, at the end of the day, you know, this is our religion. This is who we are. This is the lifestyle we can have. You know, we can be successful. We can have a lot of money, and we can still be connected to our faith. And that's what it will always go down to: is stay humble, stay true to your faith, and never ever ever forget Allah, because what Allah gives, Allah can take just like that in a heartbeat. And it's happened to many people, man, and we've seen it. So we should always put Allah first in everything we do.
100%, bro. I couldn't have put it any better, and I think that's a good place to end the podcast today.
Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah. Thank you for coming down. Well, you know, we're in Manchester. But
yeah.
Thank you for coming down anyway. You came down,
man. So alhamdulillah.
Yeah, but
man.
a long time coming, but we got it done. Alhamdulillah. Appreciate it.